Russia flexing its muscles with a military exercise as President Vladimir Putin looks on. Thousands of Russian troops are already on the ground in neighboring Ukraine, in control of the strategic Crimean Peninsula. Things are moving quickly. Here are the latest developments. Ukrainian sources say Russia has issued an ultimatum to Ukrainian forces in Crimea, with a Navy commander warning, surrender or face an attack. Russian media are quoting a military spokesman as calling those reports, quote, utter rubbish. Ukrainian defense officials say up to a dozen trucks full of Russian troops have crossed into the Crimean city of Kerch, and others have arrived from Russia by ferry, attacking a border post. President Obama says the United States is examining a series of steps to, quote, isolate Russia. The State Department says sanctions are being prepared even right now. We have the kind of coverage that only CNN can deliver, beginning with our chief national security correspondent, Jim Sciutto. Jim?
Well, clearly the administration is getting ready to act. We're told that they began drafting specific language for possible sanctions over the weekend. No decision made yet on whether to impose those sanctions or indeed which sanctions to impose, but they want to have the options ready. And today we heard the president warn that his goal is to isolate Russia and make its actions in Ukraine very costly. With Russian troops now swarming sovereign Ukrainian territory tonight, Washington is preparing likely sanctions against Russia. President Obama vowing today to make Russia's military intervention, quote, a costly proposition.
What we are also indicating to the Russians is that if in fact they continue on the current trajectory that they're on, that we are examining a whole series of steps, economic, diplomatic, that will isolate Russia and will have a negative impact on Russia's economy and its status in the world.
The possible sanctions include freezing the overseas assets of Russian individuals and companies, banning travel for Russian leaders and businessmen, and at the more extreme end, blocking some Russian banks and businesses from the international financial system, an enormously costly scenario for Russia. All of these measures, however, require unity within the Western powers, and today, a sign they could be divided. This official document, caught on camera by a British photographer as it was carried into 10 Downing Street in London, refers to Britain's support for visa restrictions for key figures. But it adds, quote, the UK should not support for now trade sanctions or close London's financial centre to Russians.
These actions would have to be multilateral. The co-option of the European Union is absolutely necessary because Western Europe is the major trading partner for Russia.
And Russia has its own economic leverage. It controls more than 50% of the natural gas supply to Europe, and many of the key east-west pipelines crisscrossing Ukraine. Cutting off or reducing those supplies in the winter, a tactic Russia has used before with Ukraine, could be a costly proposition for Europe. One key decision now is which individuals to target with sanctions, and the administration is still deliberating, but since the response would be to the Russian intervention in Ukraine, the likely targets would be top Russian government and military officials to focus for now not on Russian companies or businessmen. This has the potential of being very costly. A lot of money moves around Europe. If we're talking about travel and their finances and their assets, that has power.
They would be especially costly to a lot of countries like Germany in Europe, who get a lot of their oil, natural gas from Russia.
No question, and they also do a lot of business with Russia, so European countries will pay a price for this as well.
And John Kerry is leaving later tonight for Kiev. He'll show a statement of solidarity with Ukraine tomorrow when he